Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. Let's face it, India's cities are in a mess. They are in a mess in a number of ways. Traffic problems, of course, are there. Garbage problems are there. Air pollution problems are there. Problems of getting people from one place to another place. Mass transit systems don't often work. So it is a mess. And now, in the monsoons, that mess is aggravated. Well, actually, in winters also it's aggravated because air pollution goes up in cities like Delhi. But in the monsoons, we have a new urban phenomenon. Yes, we all love Venice and wanted to go to Venice, but we don't necessarily want our cities to become like Venice, but without the beauty and without the gondolas, because Kerry may think that people are coming to IITs in boats. Unfortunately, most people actually do that. So they are somehow trying to wade through the water, somehow trying to get their cars through flooded underpasses with water pouring in from the windows. It's awful. And surely by now, in the year 2017, we should be able to do something about it. And this, by the way, is not a Delhi phenomenon, it's not a Mumbai phenomenon or a Kolkata phenomenon or a Hyderabad, Chennai. It is happening across the board. So today, in the first of a series, I think we're going to start doing a series of shows on The Big Fight over the next few months, looking at various aspects of the urban mess. Today, let's just look a bit at some of the garbage that's lying around, but also specifically flooding. And we've got together a panel of experts to help us understand all of that. We have R.P. Singh from the BJP. So first, the politicians, R.P. Singh is with us from the BJP. Tom Vadakan is with us from the Congress Party. Atishi Marlena is joining us from the Aam Aadmi Party. So great to have you with us. We also have with us Sudhir Vora, architect, urban planner. Vimlendu Jha, our friend, is here with us, who's the founder and head of Swecha. But before I come to any of you, earlier in the day, I got the chance to actually work on the Maha Cleanathon along with Devendra Fadnavis and Amitabh Bachchan. The problem of cleanliness, of course, very much there. But when you're worrying about cleanliness in the monsoons and the rainy season, it's even worse, because in addition to garbage, now you've got flooding, and that flooding is making the garbage work. So this morning, after we'd worked to try and clean up one particular corner of Mumbai, and we'd got other people to join in, I did get the chance to talk to Mr. Fadnavis and to Mr. Bachchan to try and see what sort of solutions we can find going forward. Let me just quickly show you an excerpt of that discussion. Mr. Fadnavis, you must be feeling there is a certain issue in urban cities, not just in Maharashtra, but across India. We have a bit of an urban mess, how we are managing our cities. It is a problem. They're not as efficiently run. Sometimes the perception goes through as there are elsewhere. And that is also leading to the dirt and the lack of cleanliness.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I was amazed when I became Chief Minister. I could see that we are generating 20,000 metric ton of garbage, of the waste, solid waste, collecting and transporting 13,000 metric ton and processing 1,300 metric ton. So every day we were dumping so much of garbage, solid waste, and it was like an atom bomb. Every day we were dumping it. Now we feel that ODF is just one step. We also want to make our cities clean. So 100% garbage should be collected. It should be processed. So our endeavor is to process the entire garbage. And I think in a year's time, Maharashtra will lead the way into solid waste processing. So we just don't want to take the garbage from one part of city and to dump it on the other part of city. We want to process every bit of garbage. And same is the solid waste. All our rivers are polluted, and 90% of pollution comes from cities. Yeah. All the liquid waste which we are discharging from the cities are polluting our rivers. So in Maharashtra, I'm sure in 2 years, we will be in a position to say that Maharashtra has led the way and all our liquid waste is being treated, and whatever we discharge is a treated discharge.
But Mr. Fadnavis, if you look at the other problem, look, it's monsoons are there, it is going to rain. If you look at the country and also in cities like Mumbai, everything becomes flooded. There's water everywhere, water is not going out. Now, very difficult to maintain any sort of cleanliness or anything when the cities are underwater.
Yeah, I think it's all, again, it's related to the cleanliness. So many times, if you don't clean, the nalas,
All the canals, wherever the water goes
yeah,
through,
from wherever the water goes,
it blocks the
water gets blocked. There's a clogging, and then you see all the flooding in the city. Again, cities like Mumbai, I think, which are island cities, there are peculiar problems because when there is a high tide and heavy rain, you cannot discharge water. So at least that time, if you have clean nalas, if you have all those areas which actually carry your water, if they are clean, then the city is manageable. But if they are not, then the city is watered.
But this is a problem, Mr. Bachchan, you must be also thinking about it. And we think about it, we have this habit that we think about it when the problem is there. It's monsoon, so we're all talking about waterlogging. And every day in the news, that's all you're seeing. This city is flooded, Delhi is flooded, Gurugram is flooded, Hyderabad is flooded, Mumbai is flooded. When winter comes, we'll be talking about air pollution. But this flooding is an issue in our cities.
Yeah, but the point that the Chief Minister has made is that, look, a lot of the problem is because of the garbage that gets dumped into these drains. Yes. If the drains are going to be clogged, there's no way that the water is going to go out into the sea. And therefore, this entire campaign of keeping clean has an effect on the flooding as well. So yes, there are certain things that, you will never be able to fight against nature. And this is not just in the city of Mumbai. I know that many times we talk about cities like Gurgaon and others where we see flooding happening. Look, if there's excessive nature, I've seen many big cities of the world, whether it's New York or London or other, they all have the same problem, sir. When nature, you can't control it.
But that, yes, of course, will be a fact of nature. But whatever the man-made issues are,
but there are certain basic things that we must pay attention to. And one of them is to keep our city clean, because then you keep your drains clean, and therefore the water logging doesn't, or the clogging doesn't take place.
So just to tell you, this year, the Nala cleaning was done in a proper fashion. In fact, whatever irregularities were there in the Nala cleaning earlier, we digged it out and did the Nala cleaning well. So this time, you must have got less, news from Mumbai that Mumbai is waterlogged and the Mumbai traffic is totally stopped.
I would like to confirm that, because my area, Juhu, where I stay, is a low-lying area. And every year we've been having huge flooding there. But so far, for the past 2 or 3 years, we've had no such incident at all. In fact, we've had very heavy rains, and it is partially due to the fact that people have been clean and they have allowed the waters to go through. Juhu has been relatively flood-free.
So in other words, what we can conclude is that one, forces of nature, as Amitji was saying, you can't do anything about. But man-made factors like the dirt that we are throwing into our drains, and man-made factors, of course, like illegal construction and storm floods, those we can try and do something about. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree. That's correct.
हम लोग बाहर देश में जाते हैं तो वहाँ की जो देश की जो परंपरा है उसके साथ हम लोग नियमित रूप से उसको साफ सुथरा रखते हैं. अपने देश में आकर के अपने देश की हम लोग सफाई नहीं करना चाहते. ये क्या है? ये हमको इस सोच को बदलना है.
बहुत सही बात अमित जी ने कही. मैं जापान गया था तो मुझे कई कचरा पेटी नहीं दिखी. तो मैंने हमारे जो एम्बेसडर थे उनको पूछा, मैंने कहा भैया कचरा डालते कहाँ है यहाँ? तो कई कचरा डालने के लिए छोटी कम से कम भाई साफ रखते हैं लोग. उन्होंने कहा यहाँ कोई केला भी खाता है तो केले का छिलका जो होता है उसको एक कागज़ में बंद करके अपने पर्स में रखता है और अपने घर में जाके फिर उसको सही जगह पर छोड़ता है. तो ये जो एक आदत लोगों में है, मुझे लगता है कि आदत सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है. और हमारा जो मिशन है, मोदी जी का जो मिशन है क्लीन इंडिया, इसमें लोगों की आदत बदलनी है. हम लोग जब आदत बदलेंगे, स्वच्छता ये आदत होनी चाहिए. जैसे हम कहते हैं कि एक व्यक्ति जिसको स्वच्छ टॉयलेट यूज़ करने की आदत लग गई, वो खराब टॉयलेट में जा नहीं सकता. वो खुद अपना टॉयलेट स्वच्छ करता है.
All right, let's now move on. And before I come to the panel out here and dive into Delhi a little bit, Ankita Sinha is there in Mumbai. We're just talking about the mess in Mumbai, not just garbage, not just dirt, but the fact that like clockwork, a lot of Mumbai seems to be getting flooded every single monsoon. And every single monsoon, everyone seems to be surprised to say, oh, it's raining. Isn't that suddenly such a surprise, and now everything is flooded? Ankita? Are most people fed up by now?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the questions that the people of Mumbai raise is that BMC, which is one of the richest civic bodies in India, have a huge chunk of their money. In fact, their budget this year is about 37,000 crore rupees. But despite that, this is a recurring problem year after year. So I have with me Mr. Chandrasekhar Prabhu. Thank you for joining us, sir. So if you could look at the in-depth, the root cause of this problem, what do you have to say? This happens year after year.
See, one is the problem of Mumbai, which is Mumbai specific. The second is the general problem for all the urban metropolises in the country. Now let's take the first one first, the problem of the urban metropolises in the country. All these were small little villages which have grown into cities. The rate at which urbanization has happened is so fast that people couldn't just think. We are governed by a bureaucracy where the bureaucrat gets transferred every 2 or 3 years, so he doesn't think beyond that. The politician doesn't think beyond 5 years. So there is no one who actually thinks about a perspective plan of a city. So what happens is we have these small little things, a dab here and a dab there, which everyone tries to do and feels that he has done a job. This actually should have been dealt by the perspective plans, the development plans for the various cities.
Ankita, I just wanted to ask Mr. Chandrasekhar, the fact that that villages are growing into cities is a phenomenon across the world. New York used to be a tiny little village once upon a time. London was a very small little city once upon a time. Most countries around the world and most cities around the world have eventually found a solution to this problem. Why is it that we can't figure out something as simple as saying if our streets are going to get flooded, we should have rainwater harvesting? It's not that complicated.
See, all over the world, when cities increase, they plan its growth, create more infrastructure and permit the cities to grow. Here, the cities grow first and then we, like blind people, search for infrastructure and try to fix a road here and a pipeline there and so on. Mumbai was 7 islands and most of the remaining portion was always reclaimed. So when you reclaim a portion, like for instance this portion where we are standing down is amongst the low-lying areas. It forms like a saucer shape, a small little saucer, wherein all the water from the neighborhood comes and gravitates towards this area, a little bit of rain and it is flooded. Now this being low-lying area in those days, they never thought in terms of bringing it at par with the remaining. Only way we can treat them as of now is the moment it rains, there should be an activation of some kind of a pumping system wherein immediately that water should be pumped out.
So there you go. A lot of these low-lying areas, definitely they need to be treated. We need to have pumps to ensure that the water does not accumulate for a long period of time.
All right, Ankita, thank you so much for joining us. Let me just come back here to the panel out here. Mumbai, I want to go to the south very soon. Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. We'll be going to all those cities. But I just want to come to Delhi and Gurugram. This week, of course, was particularly bad. What's really the problem out here? As I said, why is it so difficult, Sudhir, to just simply say, why don't we put rainwater harvesting in all of those low-lying underpasses?
Are you talking about the underpasses only?
I mean, underpasses are one thing. Right now, everything is flooded. So I'm saying let's start with the underpasses.
Rainwater harvesting works when the soil can soak up that water. In the monsoons, no rainwater harvesting is going to work.
Right.
It's because
if it's a deep enough bore going far enough inside, it will work.
it's like blowing into a balloon forever. You can't have water pressure pushes the water up. You have what happens to groundwater. As it fills up, your level of groundwater goes up. Right? As simple as that. Rainwater harvesting is not an answer in heavy monsoons.
But hang on.
Rainwater harvesting is an answer when you want to conserve water.
I get it, but I'm saying that if you look at a city like Delhi or look at Gurugram, our water table has been crashing. For 9 to 10 months in a year, we sit here with a panicked expression on our face and saying, there is no water, people shouldn't bathe, people shouldn't brush their teeth, we are water constrained, our groundwater has fallen by hundreds of feet. That's what we do 10 months in the year.
Right.
2 months in the year, we are swimming to work. Now, surely somewhere between the two, we should have some balance, where we should find ways of, when it's raining, store the water somewhere, allow it to filter through, have old bowlies so we can store it the rest of the time.
Agreed. Now here you're coming to the logical point. You can store water in the monsoons for the next few months. Bowlies did it in the olden days, and a lot of things happened all over, small dams, small lakes, etc., etc. Rainwater harvesting is not a solution because the time it takes to percolate water through the subsection is too slow.
Okay.
So it overflows. That's the bottom line. Talking of only rainwater harvesting. However, the larger picture is that as our cities have grown, urban planning has failed failed us completely. I'm taking that on as our profession because it doesn't exist properly. So it's not something which can't be done, but a combination of administrative failure and technical failure has come to this situation.
Okay.
So
and in Delhi, of course, that's compounded by another factor that I'm just going to come to, which is the politics of it. Can I just ask you, is this one of those problems that, oh my God, India has a really serious issue, there's something which no other country in the world has, and I understand if there's a cyclone, I understand if there's a tornado that happens, I understand if there's an extreme weather event, nobody can predict that, you can't deal with it. But to have flooding in every single Indian city, monsoon after monsoon after monsoon,
True.
is not something unpredictable. It's not an act of nature. It is something that we should be able to deal with.
Yeah, it was very surprising yesterday when some political parties and political leaders actually said it rained too much and that's the reason why we got flooded. So it's man-made. It's basically failure that we're talking about. And the first point is that we have a very skewed understanding of the word infrastructure. Because for us, infrastructure is concrete. For us, infrastructure is not the river, not the drain, not the non-concrete land that you need where the rainwater needs to actually pass. So, we have actually looked at no planning, no coordination, no execution, and on top of that, what we actually do is that we put no governance and no government, and then we actually get flooded at the end of the day. So many parts of the world, many cities have been there in extreme situations, but they found a solution. And that solution can only be found when you look at that if we have inherited it, if there's a systemic error that we've committed, we will have to find a systemic solution to this. So if, for us, if we had a political will to dig the entire city and construct metro and to find a solution to public transport problem, we should have a political will to really dig the city once again and stop it from flooding.
Do we have the political will? And that's an interesting question to ask because, especially in Delhi, we seem to be in a situation where right now, between the central government and the Delhi government, there is an act of, it's like war. India and Pakistan love each other in comparison to the way that the Delhi government and the central government are functioning right now. So, and Delhi is just an example of that. Other cities are also in a mess. But now that we are on Delhi, Atishi, let me just come to you. So, Aam Aadmi Party ruling in Delhi, how long are you going to go on saying that everything is a fault of the central government? Because somehow Sheila Dikshit managed for a large period of times and others did. How long are you going to blame everything on the central government?
Well, on a lighter note, I don't know whether the Aam Aadmi Party is actually ruling Delhi at the moment, but moving on from that.
You as the Aam Aadmi Party, hang on. Wait a minute. I completely agree with you. None of us are very sure whether the Aam Aadmi Party is ruling Delhi right now. So I'm glad you made that point. Maybe not quite the way you went. But Atishi, you and other leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party spent a lot of time pillorying Sheila Dikshit and others, saying that why are you not taking care of rapes, why are you not allowing flooding to happen? It was the same situation. Yes, there's more antagonism right now between the Delhi government and the central government, but somehow Delhi governments have managed in the past somehow to govern.
And it rained those days.
And it rained then also. Monsoons have been happening for centuries in India.
2-3 things.
Centuries.
No, absolutely. There's two or three things that need to be looked at over here. First of all, I think I'm not an urban planner, so I'm not qualified to give very specific technical solutions. I think our panelists here would probably be more appropriate to give those. But yes, I agree that solutions can be found if there is no problem so that solutions can be found as long as there's administrative and political will. But if you look at the situation of Delhi and forget the battle that exists currently between the Delhi government and the central government, Delhi is probably the most misgoverned city in the world. There is no other city in the world that has
you are governing it.
Multiplicity
so I'm glad
of
you
governance.
think it's I'm sad that you think it's the most misgoverned city, but you're the one who's doing the governing right now, or the misgoverning.
No, but you have to, let me tell you this, Vikram, and specifically on the context of roads, there are 7 road-owning agencies in this city who report to 3 different government agencies. So now, unless one resolves the problem of multiplicity of governance, you have 3 MCDs, you have one NDMC that reports to the central government, you have the Delhi Cantonment Board, you have the PWD and the Irrigation and Flood Control. Roads are owned by 7 of these agencies. MCDs report to the Urban Development Ministry, as does NDMC. You have the Delhi Cantonment Board that reports to the military. Delhi government actually owns very few roads in Delhi. Yes, we have been working on improving the situation as far as flooding goes. Maybe our efforts may not be enough. I'm not saying that we have done everything we can. But this problem cannot be resolved by the Delhi government alone.
Okay, cannot be
And this is
answered
a
by the
problem
Delhi
that not
government
just the
alone.
Aam
He's
Aadmi-
wrong enough.
Can I one other thing?
Just no.
I guess.
Let me complete.
See,
what
Tom
I'm
is
saying, Vikram.
Atishi, Tom is trying to
this
come
is a
in because Tom
question
wants
that
to
can
point
only
out.
be resolved.
Tom wants to point out, no doubt, that
This
this
is
is
a problem
exactly
that-
what has happened
yes.
in the city. 15 years before the Aam Aadmi Party took over, Sheila Dikshit ran the city, and somehow or the other, those same issues existed.
Yes. These issues were all there. We had the same monsoons.
Significant
We had the
difference here.
same.
No, there's a significant-
there was a lot of people
there's a
coming in from
significant
various
difference here,
states. We
Vikram.
had problems. But then, situation did not come to such a pass that you have to drive through the city. I should say this, when I was coming to your studio last 10 days back, I had to turn around for 3 hours just to come this way. So basically, this is South Delhi. We have a problem. Earlier, there used to be problems elsewhere. But now the issue is, the Delhi police has flagged off 339 roads in Delhi, which during the monsoon is affected. Now, this is a document lying in your Chief Minister's office, A. B. The other issue is, as to the question of desilting, there is a deadline fixed and it's available on your file, June 15th. Nothing has been done. Your Chief Minister is busy in Goa, he's busy in Punjab, and he's got all sort of activities. He's got a Deputy Chief Minister.
And
Why
the other
doesn't he act?
ministers were busy with other activities that you don't
And
even
other
discuss.
activities are on and on. But point here is, you need to govern. You can't give up and say, well, I'll take up Punjab and then come from there.
And I think the significant difference that exists between what Tom was saying or what you have said in the past 15 years is that in Sheila Dikshit's time, there were phases when the MCD was governed by the same party, but even when they were governed by different parties, the kind of active antagonism that has been encouraged in the past year by the central government is very worrying. Repeatedly, we have MCD officers, commissioners, etc., not turning up for meetings. You have coordination meetings chaired by the Chief Minister, chaired by the Deputy Chief Minister. MCD mayors don't come, MCD commissioners don't come, relevant officers don't turn up. When you have a situation where the central government is encouraging non-cooperation with the state government, things are bound to deteriorate.
Mr. Harpreet Singh, you want to respond to that? That it's essentially because of the central government. And this, frankly, by now, the residents of Delhi, I can tell you, are all prepared to tear their hair out because this is all that's happening right now. Aam Aadmi Party is saying central government is doing it, the LG and Chief Minister are fighting, and this is all that seems to be happening now.
I have a very two small points. She said solution can be found to every problem, and probably India, Pakistan. Why don't they look ahead and find out a solution in the relationship between the LG and the local government, Aam Aadmi Party, Kejriwal also. But the bigger issue is Mr. Vadakan just mentioned 339 roads, and all 339 roads are PWD roads. Not a single which is in roads which is inside the colonies. These are all 339 which are PWD roads, and all what you said. I 100% go by you, although my expert would not agree with this. I 100% go with you. That immediate thing is that you identify all those 50, 60 spots where water get logged. And not only that, you make a pit there for water harvesting. You can make pits also from the way the water flows in. You can make the pits on that path also, and that will find out a bigger solution. I can give you example.
Okay.
The lady named, give me a minute. There's a lady named Sheila Nair. She turned the complete city, Chennai city, into a water harvest city, and that should be done. I'll appreciate if Aam Aadmi Party is hearing us out. They should immediately call. They asked a lot of people on deputation. They should call Sheila Nair here and ask her to help the city rather, not them.
Okay.
Help the city to convert the city into water harvest city.
Can I
And
ask
that
you a
will
question? Why don't you do the same thing in Gurugram? I mean, Gurugram is BJP ruled. Why don't you do the same thing in Gurugram? Because Gurugram is better.
yes.
Why don't you call?
Yes.
Why don't you call Sheila Nair?
Yes, I'm telling you.
Please, can you please, as soon as we leave this particular show, if you will pick up the phone, call up your head in Gurugram and saying, can you call Sheila Nair to come out here? Because Gurugram, frankly, is also a disaster.
Yes.
If anything, it's worse.
Accept it. I'm not denying
I mean,
that.
in Delhi,
allow me to complete now.
In
You
Delhi,
said you raised a question.
in Delhi, you are swimming to work or wading to work. In Gurugram, sometimes you need divers because the water is so high above your head.
Yes, I accept, and this is primarily because it is a city which has come up without any planning, and here there was still there's proper planning. There's like Sun City, deal of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big numbers, but all were like cities in cities. No, not.
But you can
give
do
me a
rainwater
minute,
harvesting
sir.
now.
Give me a minute, sir. There's already a comprehensive plan.
Delhi has come up over 2,000 years.
Sir, there's already a comprehensive plan being drawn on that. That how do we ensure that there's the complete connection there for the complete all these small cities put together has been done. But as far as Delhi goes, it can be done now, and they don't need anyone else. They need to just identify 50 points and work on a water harvesting pit. I 100% go by you.
Let me just get some other cities inside. Let's not make this only about, we've discussed Mumbai, Delhi, Gurugram. Let's go to Hyderabad now. Dr. Nageshwar is joining us. Now, it's really spreading. Look at what's happened in Hyderabad. The number of people who've died in rain-related activity. Again, Dr. Nageshwar, it should not be a surprise to anybody in Hyderabad or Bangalore and Chennai, other cities I'm about to come to, that it's going to rain in the monsoon. So why is it that we can't plan for it?
It's an absolute failure of governance. Hyderabad is a place where Agni missile was manufactured. Hyderabad is a place where parts in the BMW cars will be manufactured. But Hyderabad is also a place where people die falling into manholes. So it's a question of not the question of capability, the question of the actual governance. Can't we not close the manholes? Why should, even in the 21st century, age of computers, people should fall into a manhole and die?
Are you seeing any signs of governance improving or no? Because Hyderabad is one of the cities that is positioning itself to be one of the smart cities, global, capital of the future. It's very tough to attract foreign investment when you are having the Secretary of State of the United States asking students of IIT not about their brains but about whether they were taking boats to come to their college. I'm sure people will be asking the same question in Hyderabad this week.
The question of manholes is only one dimension of the problem. So I'll tell you the second dimension. The municipal authorities will cut the road. Another person will come and lay the road, and immediately after a day, another department will come and cut the road, and they will leave the road like that, and the water will be logged in that. So obviously there is also failure of coordination. There is a failure of a stormwater drain system. In fact, I was in the Legislative Council representing Hyderabad. For 8 long years, I have asked for a stormwater drain system. There is absolutely no stormwater drain system even today in Hyderabad. Okay. And we obstruct the natural flow of water. Surprisingly, Vikram, we obstruct the natural flow of water. Right. We do not allow the rainwater to flow into water bodies, but we allow sewerage and drainage to flow into the water bodies. Can't we not obstruct the drainage and allow the water?
No, I think Dr. Nageshwar, thanks for joining us. Those are really excellent points that you made.
And that's the core problem, actually. As in, at the end of the day, if you look at what happened in Gurgaon and Delhi, it's not just about desilting. Of course, that's one of the issues. But post desilting, where should that water go?
All right, let me just go all the way down to Chennai, another city that saw really terrible flooding a year back. Sam, thanks for joining us, and with many people around you. After those huge Chennai floods, which people felt were an eye-opener, I'm just curious, has anything been done after that to try and fix the situation or no?
9 months since Chennai was struck by those unprecedented floods, and the general view among the people is that even after 9 months, nothing much has been done concrete. Chennai is not really that well prepared to face a calamity of that kind if it strikes again. Well, I have with me a cross-section of Chennai's concerned citizens. If I can begin with Jairam, whose Rapport Yakam had recently released a citizens audit actually based on the study of your waterways. Is Chennai better prepared now?
I'm sorry, it's not. See, what we found is that in this audit, we in fact did it in highly flooded areas of Chennai. So places like Pallikarnai, Velachery, Pallavaram, all these highly flooded places when we did it. What is shocking is that 9 months have gone. Chennai is gifted with the best waterways you can have. We have 3 rivers flowing across Chennai, 1 buffer Buckingham Canal across it to carry the waterways. But unfortunately, none of these are desilted. The encroachments that were responsible for the blockages have not been removed. We still have garbages and construction debris blocking these waterways. We still do not have the stormwater drains desilted. Right. So all these issues what we are able to find, and there has been absolutely no response from the authorities as well. There has been no transparency from the authorities in terms of what is their plan. Apart from allocating a budget of 15 crores for the major waterways, they have not done much. So that is the situation. If we are going to get the same amount of rain, we are pretty much seems to be in the same situation as.
Coming to unplanned expansion of city is growing phenomenally. What kind of unplanned development or urbanization you're seeing now?
It's basically where houses are being built where they shouldn't be built. Permits are being given where they shouldn't be given. You can definitely see a very clear politician-builder nexus. And the public also, I would blame, because knowing all this, they do buy in these areas because they're probably attractively priced. So I'm not only going to place the blame on the politicians and the builders. It is us also. Secondly, when such a thing happens, I mean, even when we know a monsoon is a yearly phenomenon, such floods are treated as, once in 100 years phenomenon. Right. People don't, at least the government does not think of it as something that could potentially happen every year. So the reaction is always a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, we have disaster management as a subject in the curriculum, but it's not put to use.
Right. You raised the point of how even the basic things like the levels of roads are not maintained. When there's flood, they don't scrape the road, but they keep on raising the levels, worsening the situation. How is it?
Yes, actually what we've been interested in for the last 9 months is actually how the road system has worked. We have not found a single drainage system which is compliant with any of the standards of the Indian Roads Congress, which has been at this since 1960. So the particular Road Congress standards which would be relevant here is the 2011 standards, which were formed soon after the Mumbai flood. And they very clearly say how the road abutting the canals should be, how the stormwater drains should drain into the canals or go straight to whatever depository they have where it must go to, and how the road should be tapered in such a way that the water does not stagnate on the road but flows out. And more importantly, the road height, the mean height of the road should not be higher than the surrounding areas.
So lots of tough questions. We'll have to wait and watch how this will pan out when monsoon strikes again Chennai in a few months. Are we better prepared or not? We'll have to wait and watch.
All right, Sam, thanks for joining us. So Chennai and I can say this is really happening in every corner of the country. By the way, it's not to say that floods aren't happening in rural India. Of course, it's there, massive. Look what's happening in Bihar and Northeast, Assam. It's across the board. But in the case of urban India and these cities that we're looking at on this particular show, I guess one of the major issues is that it seems so much man-made, so much obvious things that could have been done, should have been done, but have not been done. Rajiv Chandrasekhar now joining us. Let's just discuss one more city, Bangalore, who's the founder trustee of the Nama Bengaluru Foundation. So, Rajiv, same sort of situation seems to be repeated city after city, bad planning. Why is it that we can't figure out the way water should flow out to the drainage systems? These are all obvious things. Now, Bengaluru, for example, is right now seeing a major demolition drive, which is causing its own issues. But why is it that we can't get these simple issues sorted out in just about any of our cities?
The answer is very simple, Vikram, and the reason is that nobody wants to. There is an inherent vested interest in the city government to continue to allow the status quo of encroachment, land grabbing, illegal constructions to continue, because there are people within the government that are complicit and are part of that. This is not, unfortunately, a lot of the time is spent on arguing that the government does not know the solutions and the problems are not understood, and we go round and round in circles on what should be the solution. Really, this is about governance and city governance failing again and again and again. And it's very convenient for the people in government to keep blaming, the rain gods or some other natural calamity for the problems that are impacting a normal citizen's life.
Bengaluru used to have one of the best natural drainage systems anywhere in the country. It was, once upon a time, it's got a natural, beautiful drainage system, but somewhere along the way, it's been destroyed. It's been destroyed by a combination of the factors that we've been talking about.
It is really the lack of enforcement of law, lack of enforcement of rules. When there is a clear zoning plan, and the zoning plan says you cannot encroach on lakeside buffer zones, the zoning plan says you cannot encroach on valley zones, the zoning plan says you cannot encroach on stormwater drains, and the BBMP, that is the municipal corporation, allows that kind of encroachment to go on, the impact will be felt. And the irony of all of this is, Vikram, that at the end of the day, it is always the innocent citizen that pays the cost of this kind of.
And right now in Bengaluru, by the way, that's exactly what we are seeing. People's houses are being demolished, and then the banks are telling them.
Absolutely.
They obviously got some clearance on the basis of which they bought those houses, and they took loans from the banks. Those people are now being told your
Absolutely.
houses are going to be demolished and you are going to continue to pay EMI on the loans, which is somewhat unfair.
Absolutely. And there is not one person in the government, not one builder, not one engineer who is given the approvals that has been held up. See, it is always the helpless citizen who is nailed for no fault of his or her.